seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish. I'm joined with Drew and E, and we have some breaking news in the Texans world. The Texans benched Davis Mills, and Kyle Allen is now the starting quarterback. What a huge turn of events. I mean, I personally didn't think that Davis Mills wouldn't get benched at all. I thought they would give him the whole year, but Drew and E, what are your instant reactions to this news?
My initial reaction is that this is something that they kind of just like had to do. Davis Mills is 3-17-1 as a starter for the Houston Texans. Regardless of how the team is, if the team has enough talent, if the team is ready to win, he has not warranted enough to continue to be the starting quarterback of this football team. And he has just been not able to fix his issues that we saw from the first game of the season versus the Colts. Don't get me wrong, he looked like he had a lot of promise at the end of last season when he had those games versus the Chargers and the Titans, and he made some throws that were kind of eye-popping, and I was really impressed. And I was also extremely optimistic because he was just a third round pick, and kind of what you can do there with the contract and stuff like that. If you're in, and if for me it was like if you can build around Davis Mills, a guy who got in the third round, and a year that you didn't even have a first round pick, that'd be super, super impressive. But now it's just clear to me that he doesn't have enough talent to be an NFL quarterback. The things that I'm seeing is that he still looks uncomfortable, and he's really never able to get into a rhythm. He can't throw the ball to the left sideline. We've seen him sail the ball multiple times over the guys. He sails the ball even over a 6'4" Nico Collins. That's just pretty pathetic. I'm pretty sure I could throw the ball to Nico Collins on the left sideline. There was times where he just kind of left the ball short into the dirt. We saw him do that to Brandon Cooks sometimes. And it's another thing about Brandon Cooks. Doesn't seem like him and Mills are on the same page. After Brandon Cooks had almost 1,100 receiving yards last season with Davis Mills, and they had a great connection. Another thing is he stays in the pocket for way too long. He's got to learn when to get rid of the ball. He'll stand there like a statue. And I think that he even has some athleticism that he could be using, but he just never uses it. And it's really, really sad. He's limited in talent. That's something that we knew the second that he was drafted. And he just was never able to clean it up. And I think that's ultimately why you're seeing Kyle Allen replace Davis Mills here as a starter.
Yeah, and let me just add on by saying that today, first of all, Brandon Cooks is actually practicing. Usually Wednesday is a rest day for him, but this week he's practicing even on Wednesdays. So maybe they're more committed to like having just Kyle Allen for the rest of the season than we thought. That also like my first thoughts when I heard the news was that we're pretty much guaranteed to take Bryce or Stroud at this point, whether we get the first or second pick if we somehow start winning. So that would be great because we've been pretty much the laughing stock of the league for the past season. I'd say since the tie with the Colts, we got our props there and then it's just been going downhill. So yeah, just taking a QB next is exactly the move. Free refresh, start a new page again on the offense, start changing how the league looks at you because that's going to be important when you're going to look at future free agents or future coaches or whoever you want to get in. So I think the first move should be to just fix our image around the league. And I feel like us committing to this, benching Mills and going with Kyle Allen kind of helps with that. So yeah, and as long as we don't really win out and lose the second top two pick at least, so I'm not mad at it. The best part, like for Texans fans that are gonna watch this Sunday, is that the Dolphins don't really have film on Kyle Allen's offense in the Texans. So this could be a hot take. This is a hot take. This could be on Old Takes Exposed next week. But I feel like if there's a chance that we win a game, it's gonna be this Sunday. Depends on how healthy the defense is. Depends if we're gonna see the same Petre we saw against the Bears or if we're gonna see the same Petre we saw last week. So it's just a lot of ifs, but I feel like Texans fans shouldn't be going into Sunday with the mentality that we're pretty much losing the game 100%. I'd say we're pretty much losing the game 95%, but the 5% chance is there, and it's gonna make me watch that game on Sunday. I just know it. So, yeah, it's a great move. Some freshness coming into the season because the season was getting very, very stale. So, yeah, I really like this move.
Yeah, and like like the whole historically bad offense thing, like it all doesn't fall on Davis Mills. Obviously, there's also like the interior O line not really blocking, and Pep Hamilton. Some of the plays he calls is just kind of questionable, and so obviously it's like the whole blame doesn't fall on Mills, but kind of as a quarterback, you take that responsibility for the most part. So that's just unfortunate for Mills, but at the same time the Jets, they benched their second year quarterback in Zach Wilson. So, I mean, for the people who are saying, like, oh, don't bench Mills, like, give him the whole year. I mean, what do you say to the Jets then? Like, they invested a whole first round pick on that guy. And we only invested like a third round pick on Davis Mills. So I didn't understand the whole infatuation with like keeping Mills, but at the same time, I can see both sides. Like, there's really you could argue like what will Kyle Allen do that Davis Mills can, and honestly, like I think this team just needs to see better quarterback play. I don't know how much marginally better Kyle Allen will be. I think the only reason why you start Kyle Allen is so that Nico Collins can have better balls thrown at him. I don't think Cooks is. I think Cooks is gone after this year. I don't know if the Texans try to trade him or not, or but I think that's the only reason why you start Kyle Allen, I feel. And I guess kind of give the Texans a little bit of an energy shift, some kind of new energy in the building. But I mean, but yeah, like you said, there's no way we don't draft a quarterback. I mean, unless they're really waiting for Caleb Williams in 2024, and they're gonna go for a veteran free agent quarterback. It's just so many things that could happen, but I just think at this point, Nick Caserio has to draft a quarterback. There's no way he doesn't at this point, and that really makes our draft season pretty interesting, right? So I think the only game he should win is the one against the Browns, and then other than that,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh, Kyle Allen is just so much better quarterback than Davis Mills. It comes down to Davis Mills playing bad football. And the reason why they're playing Kyle Allen is to provide the team with the spark. If you look at Kyle Allen's career stats, he's been an okay quarterback. He has a 7-10 record with a completion percentage of 63.1, 4,318 yards, and he's thrown 24 touchdowns on 17 interceptions. I just want to bring up this thing real quick that they both, Kyle Allen and Davis Mills, only have one win at NRG Stadium. Just thought that the people should know that. I thought that was pretty interesting when I looked it up. And if you remember that one win, it was when Kyle Allen escaped JJ Watt for pretty much the game-winning first down, if you will, to kind of seal the game there. That was a pretty athletic play that he made. So I think that Kyle Allen, he definitely will use his athleticism a lot more than Davis Mills. I mean, it could maybe open up the playbook a little bit more. I kind of hope that we see Jeff Driscoll a little bit too in that little Jeff Driscoll package that we're running for like the first 2 weeks. I think that'd be kind of intriguing. And back to what you guys are saying about like drafting a quarterback. I don't see a way the Texans could wait for Caleb Williams because I don't know how you could. I mean, that's tanking. That's literally tanking because there's Caleb Williams is going to be the first overall pick in the draft next year. Never seen anyone look as similar to Patrick Mahomes as Caleb Williams has in college so far, and there's no way he's not the first overall pick. But the Texans do have 2 first-round picks, free agency, and multiple picks after those 2 first-round picks to build a team. So I'm not going to sit here and say the Texans need Caleb Williams. They can draft Bryce Young. They can draft CJ Stroud, even though I would probably take Bryce Young. You can build your offensive line. You can give Bryce Young weapons, and you can build a solid football team in just this offseason. You're not going to wait for the 2024 season. You're going to try to do your best to build the team up right now because this team absolutely needs a new quarterback and a lot of more talent around them.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna add on to that point is that if you do draft, let's say Will Anderson or Jalen Carter next year instead of one of the QBs, you're not going to be bad enough for Caleb Williams. We've seen that this defense is good. This defense in the first 4 games uh, could have won us a lot of games. Like the tie against the Colts could have been won just by the defense. So the defense has been great. I think there is first in like least passing yards allowed in the last 3 games or last 4 games, while also, of course, being last in rushing yards allowed. So there is definitely a correlation there of just teams running the ball more against us. But it's definitely something to look forward to, as the defense is great. It's not great. It's starting to become great. You just have to, as Drew said, just build around it and fix up the holes that we have. And 2, 3 years down the line, this team is gonna be a competitive team. It's just more about being patient at this point.
Yeah, I think the Texans can really build something special here. Obviously, I think it also starts with getting a new head coach as well. I think Lovie Smith's time here is coming to a close. I don't know if he's going to retire or not, but I kind of thought the Texans would win like at least a few games, like at least the same amount as Cully did. But this is kind of really confusing in my perspective, because I thought we'd win maybe like maybe another game or so, but for us to be like 1-8 and one, it's pretty depressing, so yeah, I think it also starts with a whole clean house as well, and hopefully the Texans have a proper hiring process this time and don't just go for like the last resort in like kind of promoting Lovie Smith. And so yeah, I mean, it also starts with that too. So Nick Casario has a lot on his plate. And also going back to Kyle Allen, he did impress in training camp apparently, but you know what they say? They say that about literally everyone in training camp. So I wouldn't take that with a huge grain of salt, um but yeah, there's that. But that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on this news, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.